Alright folks, so me being a massive Wario fan, Virtual Boy Wario is the only game I've never played. And you know what? I had a 3DS, I haven't used it in a long time. I said, feck it, I'm going to put some custom firmware on it, put an emulator on it, so that I can actually finally get around to playing it. And it also features the stereoscopic 3D, which is absolutely brilliant on the 3DS. This tutorial takes about 15 minutes. Here's some pre-prep first. Okay, so let's go through quickly what we actually need to do this hack. Obviously, we need a 3DS first. Now, this hack does work with the 2DS, but obviously we're not going to get the stereoscopic effect. So yeah, we're using the 3DS today. You need a 4GB SD card. It needs to be the large one that slots into the side of the 3DS here. You can also use a micro SD and get the encasements. I recommend a size between 4 and 32 gig. There is a way you can use more than 32 gig, but you just have to format it with a different utility. But today I'm just going to use the Windows format utility, and my size here is a 4GB one. And then you're going to need a device to obviously plug it into your PC. So in this case here, it goes into the SDHC slot for me. This is a Transcend device. There's loads of alternatives. There's even these little small USB stick ones now. They're just like look like a pen drive, and you can literally pop the SD card or the card into them like that. So that's what we physically need. Now let's move on. So the first thing we want to do before even preparing the SD card is we want to go to this link. I leave this in the description and pinned post, and that brings you to the 3DS hack guide. And we need to first and foremost download MSET9, which is the boot 9 strap, which is essentially the hack itself. Plus Python. We need to install Python on our Windows PC. So I'm actually going to go ahead and download Python first. So click that link and go ahead and download the Windows version. Again, I'm doing this on Windows. I've downloaded Python. It's on my desktop here. I'm going to go ahead and install it. Double click it and just go install now. Don't check any of the other settings. Just click install. So once the setup process is done, just click close. Don't hit disable path length limit. That doesn't matter. Just click close. And the next thing is I have the zip file here, MSET9. So this is going to be extracted onto our newly formatted SDHC card. So let's go ahead and format that now. So I'm going to go to my PC, and you can see here, there's my USB drive H, which is my SDHC card connected to my Windows PC. I'm going to go right click that. I'm going to go format. The format should be in the file system should be FAT32. Allocation unit size 32 kilobytes is fine, and you can leave it a quick format. I'm going to start that. So once that's formatted, we're not going to do anything else. We're just going to go over to the 3DS. So what we're going to need to do now is, once I have that formatted, I have a blank SD card. We actually have to put it into our 3DS first before we do anything else, because I need to recreate the 3DS folder within it. So I'm going to go and power on my 3DS. And literally when I power that on, it's going to create the folder. So that's all I need to do. So basically just have the SD card in your 3DS and leave it sitting in it for about maybe 10-20 seconds. When it powers on, and it'll recreate that folder. So we're going to go back to our Windows PC now. So once I've plugged the SD card back into the Windows PC, you should have a folder, as I mentioned, called Nintendo 3DS. Leave that there. And what I want to do next is we want to actually drag and drop the zip file MSET9 into the root of the SD card. I'm using WinRAR here, and I'm going to right click and extract here. You can use whatever zip utility you want. And I'm going to delete then the zip file. This is how your formatted SDHC card should look at this point. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to run the prep script. Again, I'm using Windows. There's some other ones for the other OSs, but we're going to be using the Windows 9.bat. So launch that. Now the command prompt is going to show you 4 options. It's going to say old 3DS, 2DS, and then it's going to give the version range. Then it's going to say new 3DS, 2DS, and give the version range 11.8.0, etc. Just go through the 4 options. Basically, it's identifying which version, physical, and which version of firmware is on your 3DS. So if you need to verify that, we can do it this way. So back over on our actual 3DS itself, you can see I have the old one because I only have 2 shoulder buttons. The new one actually has 4. So my one is the old one, plus I've powered on. And if you want to actually check what firmware you have on it, you're going to go to System Settings. And within that there on the top of the screen, you will see the version here. So I have 11.16.0-49. So let's move back over to our Windows PC. We're at the point now where I have the SD card prepared. We're going to go ahead and launch the windows.bat. So this is the script. Let's go ahead and do that. And as I said, I verified which version I have. I'm option 1, which is old 3DS, 2DS, version 11.80 to 11.17. So this is the one I'm using. So option 1. And then when you get here, you're going to use option 1 again. And just accept the disclaimer, 1 again. Once it creates the hack, it's going to exit. So back over on our 3DS, I'm going to pop in our SD card again. And what we're going to do is we're going to go up to Emulator and launch that. And you're going to see a thing that says creating extra data. It'll come up really quickly. And we're going to simply go to home. Once that's done, I'm going to close, because I'm going to just exit Emulator altogether. Let it save data and close. So back over on our Windows PC, I have my SD card inserted again. Go ahead and launch the Windows.bat again, MSET9. Again, picking your version, I'm picking option 1. It's going to check to see if it's writable. Once it's ready, this time we're going to select option 2, which is check MSET9 status. Everything should show up okay if everything is good up to this point. Press enter to exit. We're going to go back over to our 3DS and insert the card. Now we're going to go to system settings. We're going to go to data management. We're going to go to Nintendo 3DS. And we're going to go to software. And we're going to hit reset. So you'll see a prompt for reset. Go ahead and hit reset. Hit OK. Once the reset is complete, we can basically just turn off the console again. So hold down power, power it off. So back over on our Windows PC, I have my SD card inserted again. Go ahead and launch the Windows.bat again, MSET9. Again, picking your version, I'm picking option 1. It's going to check to see if it's writable. Once it's ready, this time we're going to select option 2, which is check MSET9 status. Everything should show up okay if everything is good up to this point. Press enter to exit. We're going to go back over to our 3DS and insert the card. Just a point to note, before you put the SD card back into your 3DS again, make sure that it's hovering over system settings by default. You can do this by just powering on the console without putting in the SD card and making sure your cursor is hovered over it. It'll remember where it is last, okay? Okay, so with everything confirmed that you have the cursor hovered over system settings, I'm going to go ahead and put back in my SD card. Bear in mind my 3DS is currently off here. That's it. Go ahead and power on at this point. Please follow these steps correctly to avoid any errors. We're going to go into system settings. As I mentioned, the cursor should be already highlighted at this stage. We're going to go to data management again. I'm going to go to 3DS. And this time we're going to hit extra data. Please bear in mind, at this point, do not touch any buttons on the screen. We're actually going to take the SD card out. Make sure you don't touch any buttons while you do this. I'm popping it out. We're going to go back onto the Windows PC. Leave it like this. Back over on our Windows PC again. Go ahead and launch the Windows.bat. Select your version. I'm entering 1 here. And this time we're going to press 3, which is inject trigger file. And if everything is okay, you should see MSET9 successfully injected. You can just press enter to exit. Back over to our 3DS. Now again, being very, very careful not to touch any buttons on this. We're going to insert our SD card again. And as you can see, if the exploit is successful, it would automatically load Safe BS9 installer. So we've gotten to the point of where we have the exploit loaded on our 3DS, which is good news. So at this point, I see the screen up here. It says all input files verified. To install firmware, which is the custom firmware, enter the sequence below or press B to cancel. So I am going to follow the sequence here. So I have left, down, right, up, and A. And then the sequence starts to take place. If everything is good at this point, you should see SIG Haxt firm install successful. Press A to continue. So on this menu here, I'm just going to leave everything as default. You can play around these, but I wouldn't recommend it. I'm just using the default settings, which will be perfectly fine for what we want to do and install the Homebrew software and Virtual Boy emulator. So I'm going to go down and just going to hit save and exit, and your 3DS will reboot. So now custom firmware is actually on your 3DS, but we're not fully finished yet. We're going to go ahead and do some cleanup work on the SD card itself. So I'm going to pop it back out and back into our Windows PC. So at this point in time, we have custom firmware on our 3DS. We no longer need MSET9 essentially, so we're going to remove it safely from the SD card. So the last thing to do is to open MSET9 Windows.bat. Again, selecting your version. So I'm going to enter version 1. And now we're going to say option 4, which is to remove the trigger file. And it's going to remove it. So basically, in a nutshell, you can't trigger this exploit again without rebuilding the SD card. And then lastly, what we want to do is once you've removed the trigger file, we're also going to remove MSET9 itself. So press 5, enter. It has removed it, exit, and we're done. So at this point, I've gone to this link here. Again, the 3DS Hacks Guide. We're going to finalize the setup, so basically put a bunch of Homebrew and some important utilities back onto our SD card in order for it to use them on the 3DS. And I'm going to download both of these files here, so go ahead and get both of those. They're direct downloads. So once you have those two files, the finalize.romfs file, which is about 13 megs, that's going to go onto the root directory of your SD card. Let's copy that over. And then within the subfolder Luma and subfolder payloads, the other one, which is called x_finalize_helper.firm, that's going to go into payloads. So just to be clear, finalize.romfs here, and within the Luma payload subdirectories, x_finalize_helper.firm. So back over on our 3DS, I've my SD card back in. We're going to go ahead and update the system, which is safe to do. So go to System Settings. I'm going to go to Other Settings. I'm going to use this as easier. I'm going to go all the way up to the right. System Update. Again, this is optional, and I'm not going to go through the full detail of this, but I'm going to go ahead and update mine. You could, in theory, have updated the latest version before you even done this hack, because the hack works with all versions. But I'm going to go ahead and update my system. So the final part, once the system is updated, we are going to start taking some backups and doing some system adjustments before we install our Homebrew. So with our SD card back in the 3DS, just going to do the left shoulder button, D-pad down, and select, and that'll bring up that Rosalina menu. Select miscellaneous options, and we're going to go dump DSB firmware. Press B to continue. We're going to go nullify user time offset. We can keep going pressing B to exit, and we'll come out of that menu. That's that done. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the console. So just before you turn it back on, hold down the X button first. So holding it down, then press power on, and you will see God Mode 9 come up. At this point, you should see a prompt to say essential files backup not found, create one. We're going to do it. I'm going to go yes, and then press A to continue. If you're prompted as well to fix the date and time, you can do that as well. I'm actually going to manually change that. Press home to bring up the action menu. And we're going to go down to select scripts. I'm going to go finalize. And then it's going to say the script will do the following. I'm going to press just A. If it says right into system NAND is locked, you can unlock it. Then I'm going to go ahead and press the code. So left, right, down, right, A. This process can take some time. So if everything's hunky-dory at that point, you should see setup complete. I'm going to hit A to continue. Then I'm going to finally take the SD card out one more time into the PC. To take basically our backups into a safe location. So lastly, we're going to make a copy of those backups. So go to your H drive, so your SD card. At this stage, we're going to go to GM9. We're going to go to backups and copy these 3 important files out. You will need these if you ever need to recover your system. So I'm basically copying these out. I'm going to call this 3DS backup, and I'm slapping them in there. So now finally we get to the good stuff. Let's put the Virtual Boy emulator and put Virtual Boy Wario on our system. We're going to create a new folder on our SD card called CIAS and go into that folder, and then we're going to go ahead and download the emulator. So the emulator can be found here on GitHub on this link here. I will leave this as well, as long as all the other links in the description and pinned post. Go ahead and download the Red Viper CIA file. And what we want to do is within the CIAS folder, I'm going to copy redviper.cia in there. Then we're going to go back to the root of H drive. I'm going to create another folder called ROMs on the root of this. Doesn't really matter where you put these. And then I'm going to copy my .vb file, which is my ROM of Virtual Boy Wario. Unfortunately, I'm not going to share where you can get that. That is up to you to obtain. And once you have that done, let's go back to our 3DS So back over on our 3DS, I have my SD card inserted. We're going to go down to a program now. This is a Homebrew program that we've installed, one of many. And this is called FBI. So we're going to go open this one. You're going to select the very first option, SD. You're going to go into CIAS. I'm going to find Red Viper. And we're going to go A. You can do install delete because we don't need to hold the CIA file on the SD card. I'm going to say yes, A. Going to go ahead and install the emulator. Press any button to finish. Basically, we just go back to the main menu and just go to home and close out this. You'll see the emulator will be available to unwrap. I'm just going to close out of FBI first. Never lets me close. And now we're going to open up Red Viper. Turn this up now. I'm going to go load ROM. And we're going to load ROM. Virtual Boy Wario. Go on, open for me. Thank you very much. And finally, after all that effort, there we go. We are ready to go. And yes, I have automatic pause off. Reading up on the Virtual Boy, it was a feature built in to give you a break after 15 minutes to stop probably people getting sick. But anyway, here we go, Virtual Boy Wario Land. Now, I'll just turn it around a wee bit. Unfortunately, I can't show you the stereoscopic 3D, but it is there. And when you're using it, it really is perfect, to be honest with you. It just looks like any other 3D game on the 3DS, obviously bar the reds and the blacks colors, but still extremely smooth, extremely playable. Let's maybe play the first level or so. There's a little test. A little handy thing there as well, I've turned up the brightness in the actual game as well. And let's go in here. Actually, I'm moving on to the second level because I did some testing before the video. Let's get this guy. You can use the analog or the D-pad. I actually find the D-pad to be a bit more responsive, I suppose. Can I go in here? Don't. I should have rammed him from behind. Giggity. Might be able to get him now. Or you can, as I said, I slammed the ground there as well. That worked. Let's grab the heart here. Don't need that. That's a good way to get rid of those dudes. Now in this case here, down the pipe, I want to try and actually do a case where you go into the background, which would highlight or give the impression of the 3D effect. Let's see if I can find somewhere shortly to do that. For now, we'll just keep playing this section. Again, Wario being one of the coolest franchises on the GameCube. And here you can see here, as I said, now with the 3D effect on, this looks absolutely class. And again, to turn that up, but again, you're not going to see it here. But yeah. It really gives the perspective of him being in the background, of Wario being in the background, if that makes sense. Let's grab the key. I should be able to jump back here, shouldn't I? Yeah. And again, that little effect there, jumping back, is actually really cool too. Let's try and beat this level first. Ram those two dudes. Loads of secrets in this game. I've only played a few levels. I can't wait to actually beat it. because this is the only Wario game that I haven't beaten, and believe it or not. Okay, got the dragon hat. Let's go down here as well. It's really great how well this runs, by the way. What more secrets and we got? Treasure, something similar to Super Mario Land 3, as in the first Wario Land, collecting the treasures. You have to go back now, I think. Actually, can I go this way? Yes, I can. Even more little secrets, so good. Grab coins here. Can jump back again. Gonna have to go back. The thing is, he can't run with the dragon hat on, I'm noticing. There's the key, and that is the level done. Up we go. Anyway, folks, yes, that is Virtual Boy Wario, all set up on your 3DS, and essentially your 3DS blown wide open for custom homebrew and everything else. Really, really cool. But yeah, hopefully this video has helped, folks. I really put a lot of effort into this one to put this one together. So I'd appreciate a like and drop a comment down below. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you've watched, please consider supporting my work by liking and subscribing. I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.